Alright, so now we're on to round 2 of chapter 7. We've just finished our first test. Tonight we're going to do rational exponents and radicals. So there's 2 new words here, rational exponents and radicals, and I'm going to teach you the difference between the 2. And what I want you to know, every time you see the word rational, that means that the number can be written as a fraction. Okay? So most of the time if you see the word rational, they're talking about fractions. So really right here they just mean, exponents that are fractions. So first let's talk about the parts of a radical. This n right here, and I used variables because I want you to know that it doesn't matter what number it is, any number n and any number a. So the n, what it's called is an index. Then, of course, this sign that they use, the house you might call it, but I want you to call it now the radical sign. Because you can't call it a house, you also call the division box a house. So you're going to have to call this the radical sign. And then the A, the number that's under the box, is called the radicand. Okay, so those are the different parts. If you hear me say those words, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so now let's talk about how we do a radical. What I want you to do is, let's do it without the calculator, so put the calculator aside, and then I'll show you how to put it into the calculator. So first, the cube root of 125. So what you're asking yourself here is, what can I multiply by itself 3 times to get 125? Now there's a few ways you can do this, and the more you do it, the better you'll get, just like anything else. But just for right now, let's just start at the bottom. What's 1 times 1 times 1? It's 1. So it's obviously not 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3, 27. 4 times 4 times 4, 64. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So that's going to be 5. Let's do the cube root. And we're going to rewrite 125 as 5 times 5 times 5. And see, this 3 and the fact that this is 5 to the third, the 3's cancel, and my answer to this question is 5. So you're going to take this number and you're going to determine what number I can multiply by itself this many times to get the number under the radical. So 5 I can multiply by itself this many times. That means my answer is 5. Now to put it in your calculator, that really depends on what type of calculator you have. Some of your calculators might not even do it. But sometimes you'll have this button, x to the square root of y, or you'll have y to the square root of x, or some calculators even have this button, just to show you that you can put numbers in there. Just play around with your calculator and see if you can get it to work, and if not, you can bring it to me tomorrow and I'll show you. Okay, so B, the 4th root of 16. So what number can I multiply by itself 4 times and get 16? Now, this is a pretty low number in the scheme of things, so I'm going to have to use a low number. So what's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1? It's not 16. What's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2? Well, that's 4, that's 8, that's 16. So my answer to this is going to be 2. Well, I put the answer in the wrong spot. The answer is going to be 2. Because obviously 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is not 2. Alright? I want you to pause the video, do these 2 guided questions, use your calculator, I don't care. If you don't know how to use your calculator, then use your brain, the nature's calculator. And then do these 2 questions and start the video up on the next example. All right, equivalence of radicals and rational exponents. Now what I have written here is just telling you that this fraction exponent is the same thing as this radical like we just had. And this means that I don't care if the exponent's outside of the parentheses or under the radical, it's the same thing. So I just want you to see that you can rewrite these. They're exchangeable. The only thing you have to remember is the bottom number is the index, the top number is the exponent. So here, example 2, the bottom number is the index, the top number is the exponent. And you also have to be careful about where you're putting the exponent. The exponent only goes with what it's next to. So this exponent goes with the A. So when I rewrite this in radical form, that means I'm going to use one of those things, a radical sign. And 12 is not going to go in the radical because it doesn't get the exponent. This is the index, so it goes outside of the radical. This is the exponent, so it goes under, or you could have put it outside with parentheses. And that's your answer. B, 64 and A have the exponent, so they both go under the radical. This number is your index, so it goes on the little shelf, and this number is your exponent, so it goes outside. And the other way you could have written this is the 5th root of 64a to the 4th. But you got to remember your parentheses there. Okay? If you have any questions, you can always go back to it. What I'm going to do is go ahead and do example 3, and then you're going to do a guided question on each kind. So example 3, we're actually going to go backwards from what we just did. We're going to go from the radical to the exponent because they ask us to write it in exponential form. So B is going to be your base. Your index is the bottom number. Your exponent is your top number. That's your answer. B, they're both under the radical, so they both get the exponent, which means you need to put them in parentheses. Bottom number, top number. Oh, look. What does this exponent go with? The D, not the 27. So what I need to do is do this two separate. I need to do 27 and D. They're both under the third radical. So they both get the 3 in the bottom. It's just that this gets the 5. So what does the 27 get? I don't have any number to put at the top of the fraction. So what number do I put? Not 0, 1. Okay? So that's your answer. And you could even go on to simplify this. 27 to the 1/3 power is the cube root of 27, which is 3. So you could even go ahead and fix this so it's 3 d to the 5/3. And actually, if I had my choice, this is what I want you to do. This makes you look so much smarter. All right, so guided number 2, I want you to do those 2 problems. Number 3, I need you to change it to radical form, which which means that you need one of these things. And here, I need you to put it in exponential form, which means it's going to look like this. Okay? Pause it, put it on, answer these questions on a sheet of paper you can turn in tomorrow, and then get up with me on the next slide. All right, example 4, using radical expressions. So this is a word problem. Anytime you ask me, Miss Richards, when am I ever going to use this? What you're really asking me for is a word problem. So here's where you could use radical expressions. Are you going to use it walking down the street every day? No, probably not. But they do have a use, so this is where you would use it. The problem says you can estimate the metabolic rate of living organisms based on body mass using Kleber's law. The formula, I'm not going to read it, but there it is, relates metabolic rate, R, measured in calories per day, to body mass, M, in kilograms. What is the metabolic rate of a dog with a body mass of 18 kilograms? So what you're going to do is take your formula, and you're going to figure out what you got to put in there. R is the metabolic rate. M is the body mass. They tell us the body mass of the dog. So where are we going to put 18? Yep, where the M is. So we're going to replace that with 18. And we're going to do our work. So we're going to do 18 to the third. And you don't have to do your conversions between them. You can just do 18 to the third. And I'm going to use my calculator for this. $58.32. Alright, I need the fourth root of $58.32. Alright, I think that's 8.74. I am using a calculator I'm not used to. Yeah, it's 8.74. And I rounded, so I'm going to approximate. And that means that that's about 641 calories per day. Okay, so really all I did was replace the M with 18 and just do the order of operations. So for guidance number 5, what I want you to do is, it's a man with a body mass index of 75. So really you just replace the M here with 75 and you do your work. Your answer is not going to be the same as mine, but you kind of follow the same steps. Okay, so pause it, do that question. If you have any questions about this tonight, you can email me, you can Remind 101 chat me, you can talk to me on Twitter, probably not Instagram. You can get on the Facebook Classroom page. There's tons of ways you can talk to me. And don't forget to participate in the class discussion either on Facebook or Twitter. Okay. Make sure you bring in those questions tomorrow so you don't have to sit in the rows of shame and watch the video again. And then, alright, I guess I'll see you tomorrow.